Just give it a moment for people to join. I just started the recording. We start in just one moment. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us today for the Around the Valuation World International webcast. My name is China Chun with NACBN Consultants Training Institute. Before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. First, to obtain CP credit, you must answer the poll questions that pop up on your screen during today's webcast. CPE certificates will be available if you are a subscriber to the ABW International webcast within 7 to 10 business days after today's presentation. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A option in Zoom to ask the presenter a question. If you have any technical questions or questions about NACBA, please feel free to use the chat features. Those will be directed to me. And there is our little disclaimer. CPE slide. And then we have our technical editors. We have Wolfgang Nies, Andrew Newman, and Pratik Shah. Pratik will be joining us today. The others don't believe are joining us. And then we do have some quick GACBA news today. And then we'll turn over to Mark Kucik, who will be discussing where skills meet opportunity, development of long-term engagements. All right. And before we get started with the presentation today, I wanted to go over our NACBA honors. We released information about our 2023 award recipients. These are recipients for the Circle of Light Instructor of the Year, which are awarded to instructors with the highest evaluation scores throughout the year. We also have Thomas Porter Award, which is an individual who's selected by the committee who determines who has the biggest impact. And so we have a quick video we want to show you just to highlight these individuals and recognize them for all their efforts. Give me one moment and I'll get that started. Oops. So we got to stop sharing this first. Technology. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Pratik, who will give our introduction to our presenter.
Hey, thank you, Chanda, and thanks for sharing the information on our awards and recognition. With this, I would like to welcome Mark Kucik today, and we appreciate him taking out time today on behalf of GACVA and NSCVA. A quick introduction about Mark. Mark is the founder of Cusick Valuation Group of Chicago, Illinois, specializing in business valuation of family-owned and closely held securities for various purposes. Mr. Cusick is a past chair and current member of the NECVA Executive Advisory Board, past chair and current chair of NECVA Standards Committee, a member of International Glossary Task Force, and the North American Business Valuation Standards Council. He is an instructor of NACVA's Training Development Team and serves on NACVA's Education Quality Assurance Board. Mark brings over 28 years of professional experience, 18 years specializing in business valuation. He was awarded NACVA's Outstanding Member, Outstanding Instructor, Instructor of Great Distinction, Circle of Light, and the prestigious Thomas R. Porter Lifetime Achievement Award. He also presents valuation seminars throughout the Chicago area. Mr. Cusick is a certified public accountant, a CVA, CMAA, C, CFF, and certified patent valuation analyst. He is a member of AICP and the Illinois CPA Society. Mr. Cusick is a graduate of Loyola University of Chicago. With this, it's an honor to be, attending the session. Thank you, Mark, again, and I'll just hand it over to you uh, to take it over from here.
Thank you, Pratik. It's my pleasure. Welcome, everybody. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about a new and exciting program that we've developed to help CVAs and MAFFs individuals use their skill sets to take a look at new opportunities, to be able to develop long-term engagements, and to kind of look at this through another set of eyes as we've gone forward. I have been involved with NACVA since almost the very beginning, 1993, I believe it was. And as you go through the process, and as we have, been together now 30 years, we've learned a few things. And the number one thing that we've learned as we have developed and designed and presented the certification program that I've been teaching for over 20 years, a lot of the instructors got together and kind of talked about how can we help the new people, how can we help the CVAs expand their capability. It's a huge investment of time, money, and energy when you get certified. The one thing that NACVA has done better than most is become a community. And as you design, as you become part of this family, you'll notice that there's always help, somebody always reaching their hand out to help, to generate something new, to be able to help you succeed in your endeavor. As we have literally taught thousands of individuals over the years, it's amazing on how many come up to me when we're at a conference or when we're teaching another segment somewhere around the country, and they come up and tell me about their story and how they've been able to succeed and how NACBA has changed their life, and that they were in my class 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and what I told them rang true. And today we are here to tell you that we've developed a program called coachescorner.coach. Coach's Corner has been put together as a means, as a vehicle to help you build your business. It's one thing for NACVA to help you, train you, to get certified, to make sure your education is complete, to make sure that you're being challenged and achieve certain levels of capability with your skill set. But it's a whole different game to take that skill set and turn it into opportunities for you to generate revenue. And that's kind of the whole point and the reason why we're here is to use those skill sets to be able to generate revenue for you and your family, and to be able to successfully have a career at business valuation and or fraud or a combination thereof. And even if you're an engineer or if you're a CPA, there's still skill sets that you can use that start the process of valuation and or fraud deterrence that will give you opportunities for engagements and long-term engagements going forward. And that was the basis of us designing coachescorner.coach, to be able to share the journey of the last 30 years with all of you, to get the next generation available, to help you generate long-term engagements that we've been doing for the past 30 years, which have given us longevity, given us the ability to thrive in this skill set. And one of the things that we want to do is be able to pass that to the next generation, to bring up everybody that wants to grow and be part of that community, to have access to that community, to design a portal that will give the community a voice so that we can all communicate. And if somebody has a good idea or a good experience, how they can share that good idea or experience with everybody else, so that we can then bring it from wherever part of the world that it is striving to grow to the other parts of the world, so everybody can benefit. The one thing that the pandemic has taught us more than anything else is that we are here all together, and that the world is extremely small. And when you have challenges in one part of the world, those challenges will meet you at your own borders. And that now those opportunities will then cross those borders and give us all the opportunity to be able to generate some income and then generate some new long-term engagements as a result of some of those challenges that we have. And, as we continue to go forward, as we continue to look, the one thing that I'm going to help you do is take a focus, define your skill set, right? What is it that you want to really do? What makes you happy to do? What are the types of engagements that you like to do? And I think that understanding what that skill set is, what you want to do, is going to help you succeed in the future. We have a lot of different opportunities that we'll go through here in a minute, just in the BV side. But if you have a skill set, and that skill set is either accounting and or valuation skill set to drive it down a little bit deeper, or that of fraud, or that of some other source, you need to identify that skill set. And then you got to ask yourself, how can I use that skill set for the benefit of others? How can we take a look and go forward and define what it is that we want to do? Because when you do what you enjoy doing, it's no longer work. And the difference in the attitude and the hours and the commitment will be that much stronger. And I think everybody kind of knows that, right? Everybody kind of understands that that's what it is. However, one of my challenges that I had in the very beginning was, you start out as a generalist, right? And you take a look at your skill set. And I started out in accounting, and I was doing tax and auditing and all the different sources of consulting as a CPA. But as I remembered, and I took a look at all that information, the one thing I wasn't getting satisfied was that I was always looking in the past, looking at what a company had already done instead of where they were going. And I was getting annoyed by that, because although we would develop financial statements and give them good quality reports in an audit, it was always 5 months, 6 months, 8 months after the fact. And we'd go meet an appointment with our clients, and they would set up a luncheon. We'd deliver the financial statements or tax returns. They would open up about the second or third drawer in their desk and put that envelope on top of last year's envelope, close the drawer, and out to lunch we'd go. And it happened year after year. And it really got a little bit annoying because of the fact that we weren't really benefiting the client. We weren't helping them get to another level. They're worried about payroll next week. They're worried about the shipment of inventory next week. They're worried about how they're going to grow their company at the present time, not necessarily 6 months ago. They already know that information, right? They were worried about how they were going to then go forward and expand their opportunities. Nobody ever asked them those questions. They just kind of did what they did and continued to go forward. One thing that we started to do, and I'll never forget the situation. I was called up to individuals, they were from Germany, and they did an import-export company, phenomenally successful. And I was one of their leading new auditors at the time. And I was just meeting them for the first time. And these gentlemen were amazing, but they had to trust you like anybody else. And once they trusted you, then they were your best friend for life. And I think that's true of most. So we were going through and we had a particular situation, and we had a set of documents that came through and a set of financial statements. And I gave them the financial statements to this side venture that we did. And they were about to put it in the drawer. And I stopped them and I said, "Do you have 10 minutes? And they said, "Sure." I go, "Let's go through this information very quickly." And as I went through that information, I can see that they were really somewhat shy. They didn't really want to discuss a lot of the particulars, not because they were afraid of them, but because they really didn't understand them. They didn't understand the statement of cash flows. They didn't understand how it was all tied together. They didn't understand how one piece was related to the other. So without embarrassment, I kind of asked them some questions, and I got them to lead, to show them how everything connected. And after a half an hour, which was supposed to be 10 minutes, we continued through that process, and I saw the light bulbs going off. And as those light bulbs were going off, they finally saw how to use data. And once they understood how to use the data, they never let it go, right? And they wanted more and more data. Well, I was happy to know that I was their consultant for the next 25 years until they sold the company. And whenever they had an issue, I was at the boardroom and I was in the board table, and they wanted to know exactly my thoughts as they were continuing to go forward. Developing those types of relationships and developing that type of trust with your clients is essential in going forward. And you have the skill sets inside of your CVA and your MFF to develop those even further. So let's take a look. You have two identifications of your skill sets. Step two is, let's say my skill set is business valuation. Well, now we have subsets within that skill set, right? We have litigation. We have the business valuation reports. And then we have consulting. As you take a look at the litigation side, you have to ask yourself, is that my personality? Is that what I want to do? Do I feel comfortable on the stand? Does my temperament allow me to get cross-examination, and how do I handle it? Some people, they fall apart. They're good at what they do. They understand it, but they don't want anything to do with litigation. They don't like the process. They don't like all the scrutiny that you go through. And the temperament isn't their personality. And then you have some that thrive on it and that really excel on it. So you have to find out where you fit within the skill set. Then you have business valuation. Now, with business valuation, you have challenges. You're going to issue reports. How do you get reports? Well, you have relationships that you develop with those reports, right? And then you have two major reports at what to do. And we'll go into that a little bit deeper here in a minute. And then you have consulting. And what's consulting all about? Well, consulting is doing exactly what we did with those individual German people that put together an import-export company, right? We show them on how to run their company more efficiently. We show them using our skill sets how to develop information that they can use that keeps them on track and shows them either how to run the company in real time or how to be able to go forward with a value improvement program, which could go into a situation that shows them if I do A, B, and C, I can minimize or eliminate unsystematic risks that we have within our organization, thereby increasing the value of my company. If I go through and understand how I can minimize and maximize risk so that I can go through the various components to understand how my cash flows are going to be generated, then I can maximize those cash flows to generate value in my particular entity. So all these different nuances are all part of what we can do with our skill sets. So let's take a look. When you're in the litigation environment, you have dissenting shareholders or buy-sells that go wrong, or divorce cases or disputes and settlements, economic damages. So even within the skill set of litigation, you have sub-skill sets, right? You have different places at which you might want to identify that you fit into. Maybe you like divorce. Maybe you're more interested in buy-sell negotiations. Maybe you like to do disputes or settlement negotiations, right? Maybe you'd like to get into a situation where you can help either attorneys do mitigation. Then you have economic damages. Is somebody been harmed? Maybe you like being into the economic world of proving damages in lieu of sitting in a divorce case, right? There's different types of litigation, different skill sets that will give you the ability to focus in and home in again on fine tuning what you enjoy doing and what fits your particular skill set, what fits your personality. And once you've identified that, then we'll deal with how we go forward. But once you understand what it is that you want to do within these skill sets, then you can really explore the expansion of that skill set because it may not be all the same. If you want to do an expansion of economic damages, well, you have to identify how to expand that particular feed structure to your business, which may be completely different than divorce cases or buy-sell negotiations or dissenting shareholders, right? A different set of referral sources, a different set of communities at which you need to engage yourself in to be able to get those types of referral engagements. So once again, litigation. And then you have business valuation, right? We talk all day long about calculations of values and conclusions of values. However, the only people that really know about those is us. If you ask your client, do you want a calculation of value or a conclusion of value? They have no idea what you're talking about. It's up to us to educate them, right? It's up to us to help them understand what their purpose is. And once you identify their purpose, you can then, from that point forward, give them some consulting as to how they're going to need either a calculation of value or a conclusion of value and how those pieces together will come in and you'll be just fine, right? So when you do that, when you pull together all that information, you have to be able to take a look at the different calculations versus conclusions of value. You have to take a look and say what the ultimate conclusion is. Understanding if you go through this skill set, one of the things that you're going to have to deal with is first and foremost, having to replenish the supply for those skill sets. That becomes a little bit more challenging. If all you want to do is issue reports, then once that report is finished and complete, the odds of you having to go back to that client, unless something has changed or they need an additional service for an update, most of the time you're not going to be back. And as you continue going forward, again, it's the same kind of situation where you need to establish relationships that will continue to give you the supply chain necessary for calculation engagements and conclusion of value engagements. Now, again, those are all capable and are all available for you to go through the process. But you have to first determine what it is that you want to do. What is your skill set? How do you want to expand it? And then from that skill set, how do you want to then get it to the next level? Consulting. This is the area that I think that we really let slip a little bit. We have consulting engagements. And when you take a look at consulting engagements, you have risk assessments, external and internal. You have cash flow analysis, management analysis. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Their operations. What's their capital structure? What's their capital needs? Growth and opportunity in their particular situation in the industry. Value assessment and improvement, right? So you could sit around and you could do some calculation engagements to determine, where do we stand today? What is the value of my company today? Now, one of the things that's most important is every single time you develop a conclusion of value or a calculation of value, sets up a consulting engagement after the fact. Because you now know that company's strengths and weaknesses. You know the industry. You know all the pertinent information that can now bring you another consulting engagement. One that you can use to develop trust. One that you can use to develop those long-term engagements. By going through and finding out and saying basically that, when we assessed your unsystematic risk, we found that you were very deficient in A, B, C, and D. Set up a meeting with them and show them how they can change that for future evaluation. Tell them how they can then assess the risk. How is the external assessment of risk affecting maybe their projection analysis? You can go back to them and say basically that upon looking at my calculation of value or my conclusion of value, we noticed when you did your projections that it was based on this particular industry. And when we looked at the industry, we noticed that we have some issues that are coming up down the road. And ultimately, in the next year, year and a half, maybe 2 years, there are some concerns that we need to address. And maybe now would be a good time to address those concerns. And you walk them through those particular issues and provide them with some solutions to those particular issues. Now what you're doing is becoming part of the team. You're looking at much bigger operations. You're looking at much more in-depth operations, right? And you're saying, how can I then deal with the risk assessment? How can I deal with internal and external? How can I deal with cash flows and analytics? Are they getting the maximum cash flows positions? Are they doing everything they can to maximize value? Are they controlling the company? Are they driving the company? Or is it something that is being driven for them? See, these are all the different issues that we need to deal with as we go forward. Cash flow analysis, management strength, all of these different things that we pull together are also critical. How many times could you sit down with the client and take a look at their capital structure? I'm not talking about just their own capital structure, right? Maybe they have a situation where they have one type of stock and it's owned by 100% by an individual. And they think all is fine, except that the company has grown dramatically. Maybe what they need is to reassess that capital structure so that they now have Class A and Class B, voting and non-voting. And maybe you can then show them how they can diversify 90% or 95% of the value of that company into a trust or into another place of non-voting stock so that they can transfer and maintain most of that growth and that wealth going forward. You have the tools and the skill set to be able to help them do that. What about capital needs? If you looked and you took a look at the industry and that industry was growing and or the technology was changing within that industry, have you had a discussion with the business owners and said, when we went through that particular report, there was a concern that we had that really increased the risk of that operation. And the concern was the fact that you're going to need some capital because the industry is changing. You have to understand that with change in industry means change in product line. And if they don't change their product line to meet the industry needs going forward, then ultimately what happens to that company? It disappears. So they already know that there's some issues that may be going on, or they may not. Some get extremely focused on what they're doing instead of where they're going. So they worry about developing the product the best they can, even though the product might be obsolete in a year or two. So again, looking at the bigger, broader picture, not about just how they're operating and generating that today, but what is that product going to look like tomorrow in the industry? A good example of that would be CD players, where CD players, they were going through the process and they were generating very high-end CD players to watch movies at the highest levels. And when they came out, they were around $1,700, $1,800. And in a matter of 6 months, they went from $1,700, $1,800 for a high-end unit to selling at one of the small retail stores or large retail stores for $50, $60. Now, what changed in the industry in 6 months to go from $1,800 down to $50 or $60? And the difference was streaming. The ability for smart TVs came into the marketplace for them to be able to address the streaming issue and be able to eliminate the need for any outside device to play movies, to be able to look at whatever you liked on your TV directly through that of the internet and the use of the smart television devices. So even though they built the best Blu-ray player that could exist, it didn't matter anymore because that technology became obsolete. No different than the 8-track player, the record player, the vinyl, right? As you continue going through. And now the CD is no longer the place of technology. So when you take a look at all of the companies and you take a look at what those capital structures are for their division of wealth and how they can then minimize and maintain as much of that wealth as possible through that capital structure and designing that properly. Another series is the capital needs and how much money is it going to make or are they going to have or is available to them to be able to go with industry trends? Can they then exceed those industry trends and fund those industry trends? Let's say your capital structure was maxed out and you had no ability to have money that you can then go and switch. The option is either they develop more capital needs or they go out of business. So now you have another opportunity to help them solve a problem. If they don't have the capital needs, if their budgets are all tight, if their credit lines are maxed out, then you need to take a look at maybe partnerships or how you can partner up with a larger type of industry or somebody that can use the technology and their staff and their technology that they currently have that would complement somebody else's technology to be able to fulfill, whether that be the talent that they have, the engineers that they have, or their ability to just get that cash influx to be able to do what they needed to do to give another entity the ability to compete in a marketplace as a result of the technical capabilities of the company that currently exists that they didn't have access to. And now with their technical capability and the funds from their new partners, they now have the ability to adjust and fill in that new industry need and continue to go forward. You can be the catalyst for all of these particular situations. You can be the consultant on all of these different growth opportunities. You can help them identify now that you've taken a look at what's happening through the different levels of supply chain issues, right? and how you can then take a look at growth opportunity by either increasing your supply opportunities or being able to fill the need for some of the other individuals going forward. There's all kinds of different things that you could take a look at as you're going through the details and the specific issues within that whole program. The Value Assessment Improvement Program is another program that we've designed that would help you help the client understand what they need to do. And as you continue to go through that value assessment program and that improvement program, and we show them how they can increase the company's value by 10 or 15 or 20%, and you show them how you can do that through the process, you've turned an expense into an investment. And when you can do that each and every time, and you show them if you invest X number of dollars today, that it'll be worth more value tomorrow, that's a no-brainer type of decision. And those are the types of engagements you need to really excel in. And then when those become successful, one step at a time, you develop that trust. And as you develop that trust, the next one and the next one and the next engagement, even though they may be $2,500 consulting engagements, $3,000 consulting engagements, they're unlimited over the lifetime of that client. And when you start doing that with multiple clients, then no longer is it just development and saying, here's my report, I will see you later. It's now about we've developed a report, we developed the structure, and now we have the means to be able to continue going forward. And as you continue going forward, you develop that relationship for eternity. In my case, it was over 25 years. But then think about that over each individual client. You can have 20 clients, 30 clients, 40 clients that you have those same type of relationships with, and you develop those long-term sustainable transactions that continue on and give you a lifetime of value. And you have step 3. Once you've identified where you want to go, what you want to know, then you have to understand how we're going to get there. One of the things that's really important is outside marketing, social media, agencies, the various other components within that. You have the referral marketing network from accountants, lawyers, judges, business owners, right? And then you have your client base, the reports that you've just finished, or the tax returns that they just submitted, or the audits that were just presented. And you could take a look at each one of those clients and work with the internal partners and determine what it is that they're going through that maybe you could use your skill sets to help them with. There's an enormous base of engagements through your own client base. There's an enormous amount of opportunities within that client base to help them generate additional revenue, to help them generate additional value, to help them grow. And when you grow that client base, when they become more successful, it gives the firm a better stability. And when the firm gets a better stability, the firm base grows. And as that continues on, then you get a much better value from your operations and your company as a result of having clients that are much stronger, clients that have more value, as a result, have more needs. And then as a result, everybody expands. More tax returns, more audits are available, more value is associated. And you, through your skill set and your marketing capability, has helped broaden the clients throughout the entire network of that accounting firm. And it gives you the ability to do some amazing things. So just looking beyond the small skill set and asking yourself what you can do, there's a lot of things that you can do. And then the other thing is to brand yourself, to become bigger than you are, to become bigger than your firm, to be able to speak at various local events, to be able to become that expert in a particular area, to be able to be the guy that people refer to change yourself from the generalist that you were when you started to the specialist that you've become. And once you become the specialist, the B2 guy that you go to, that everybody goes to, then you become bigger and better than you ever thought you could be. And that creates opportunity, right? Because now what happens is your colleagues will call you and you get other types of referrals from speaking at various other locations. And now your credibility increases. Your ability to have that presence around the world as a leading expert in a particular area will help people come to you and then take a look further for that growth. So you have a lot of different opportunities to do that, right? And the one thing now that we want to really show you is coachescorner.coach. This is a brand new program. This is something that is really excited. We literally rebuilt it over the last 60 days. And as you take a look at Coach's Corner, I want to take you to the actual site here because we have a fantastic opportunity for you. For being on today's call and for the NACVA members, both internationally as well as domestically, we are giving you an opportunity to join Pocket Experts and Coach's Corner right now for free. Coach's Corner will give you the opportunity to take a look at upcoming events. As you take a look at upcoming events, you'll see that we have various long-term engagement skill sets. Well, we'll walk you through with people, individuals that have built practices for 30 years. And we'll have some Q&As, we'll get some engagements, we'll get some stories, we'll get the ability to help you grow that process. We'll show you how to use different skill sets, different tools that you can use to go through and build your business. The good thing about it also is we've partnered up with Colin Brown, and Colin has given us some amazing ability to achieve various status. We have a whole section here on achieving expert status with some help from AI. And that whole webinar is coming up, and you're going to see how AI could, in fact, help you through that process. More skill sets for fraud valuation. We have now turn your website into a lead generating machine, where he's going to take you through that process and show you how to use it from a marketing standpoint. So not only do we have business experts that have done this in various skill sets to help you build your capability, you now have the ability to join the community and get part of this community today at a very reasonable price, which is zero. In the future, this will be $399 today, and for the foreseeable future here in the next couple of months. You can join the community by clicking join. You can sign up here for free. You basically put your information in and sign up. And now, once you do that, you can go through the process and you can register at any one of these in the future, and you'll get emails and referrals and all the different things you need to log on at the appropriate time in the future on those particular dates. Now, here's my commitment to all of you. Notice the time, it's 2 to 3 o'clock Central Time in the United States. If we have support from the international community, and tomorrow it's going to be on our chapters meeting where I'm going to lay this program out for the chapters and your leadership. We will design and develop a series for you as well, internationally. We will put together an international series at the appropriate time that makes sense for all of you. And we will do them live, and we will give you the same opportunity that we're giving our domestic people here at the appropriate time. And we'll bring in experts from around the world to help you as well. And that's exciting to us. So even though these have timed places and these are more geared towards the domestics, we will put in a international series that will give you the same opportunities to grow your business using the same platforms and the same tools that we're going to have available as we go forward. One of the programs that we have in here is the engagement generator. That is this series that you're looking at right now. The engagement generator is focused purely on helping you generate income, helping you generate money. And that's one of the pieces that has always been missing. NACVA has been fantastic in helping you with your skill set, helping you grow your skill set. Now we have individuals that have built successful practices, building engagements for the last 30 years using these skill sets that are going to come and share with you their ability to do that and how they've taken skill sets and designs and turned them into opportunities and the ability to help you. If we help you build 2 or 3 or 5 new engagements a year, how wonderful would that be? And to help you continue on to fund your practice, to fund your future endeavors so that you too can get the dreams that you want for you and your family, so that you can get the information that you're looking for, and that you can then understand that maybe, just maybe, one word here or one word there gives you a light bulb that goes off. No different than my friends from Germany that actually put that program together. And when that light bulb went off, it started a lifetime of trust and the ability for us to help them not only improve their company, generate a wonderful relationship, and they developed a maximum return on the value of their time and energy and capital for 25 plus years. And, one of the things that we were able to do is help orchestrate an ESOP for them to have an exit strategy. And they had an amazing, capable scenario where once we got through the ESOP, we were then able to put the entire company on the market. And I was part of that situation too, negotiating the buy sell, which then came to a place where they were able to exit and relax and go into a situation and give that growth opportunity to another set of new and upcoming individuals, and being part of that from the very beginning all the way through the process and through multiple transactions to help them have exit strategies that was amazing. So again, if you get those engagements, you put those lifetime engagements together, then you will have those opportunities as well. And I look forward to sharing those with you. Our team looks forward to putting together some amazing opportunities for these webinars that are be coming up. Remember the coachescorner.coach. Go in, sign up today. It's free of charge. Take advantage of that opportunity. Register for some events or give us the ability to understand you're interested. If we get enough support from the international community, I will then put together some, and we'll start them at a great time that works for everybody. And we'll do them live for you guys as well on an international level. With that, I thank you for your time today. I thank you for the energy. And Chenda, take it from there.
All right, thank you, Mark. That was great. Great information, and thank you for the opportunity for them to register. Let's see. I have the last polling question that's up. I just make sure that you guys answer that one and respond to that. And I'm going to do this. And yeah, so yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. Our next session will be on February 19th, 2024. We look forward to having you all join us then. Thank you, and everybody have a great day or evening, depending on where you're at in the world.